and welcome to this edition of How to Stop Wasting Your Cash Flow. The product line is growing, and I think we are going to have a fabulous summer. Any videos or materials that are used in the promotion or production of this video, I will create a playlist for, and I will also do my best to create the credits within the About section. This Thursday's presentation is dedicated in the memory of all students. We are going through some tough times, and I hope we will do better. I am here. I am Miss McGee, staff here at ProCourse, and I would like to be here to answer and help you with any questions you may have about this financial lesson. So let's take a look at our discussion line for today. The 3.5 discussion timeline highlights list of goals, things working on, things to improve, things that you need now prior to starting, assets, banking, check keeper, investments, loans, loan tracker, repayment slips. Sounds like a lot, so let's get started. This edition of ProCourse is for the 3.5 business version, and this is to help anyone that's interested or doing any type of financial activities. As long as you don't worry about how much activity, you'll do just fine. I'm sure of it. So let's get into the cover of the book. You see here you have the book belongs to in an address portion and your phone number, and that's because I believe this is very important, and in case it's lost, it can be returned to you. If you don't want to fill it out, you surely don't have to. So sit back and let's get further on into our financial lesson for today. Our discussion line is going to start with the 3.5 business version, and that includes several types of worksheets, but we're going to start with your list of goals because that's like the front portion, and it's just something so that you know before you begin you can think about, but you definitely want to think about what you would like to do better or gain from the financial lesson. So it's suggested that you probably go ahead and write that in ahead of time, and then you're going to come to another sheet that's going to talk about the things that you're working on, things to improve, things that you need now prior to starting, and those are just details for you as you go along in your lesson. We are now at the assets portion of the discussion line, and where we're at is very important because our assets are for our financial stability, and this is something that we should always concentrate on when we can, and we should also always try to build this category because it's not only for now, it's also for the future, and to help your family and those close to you do better and survive by better means than any means. So let's go in right here and see if we can find an opinion about creating wealth together.
Everybody, her father and all their colleagues and everyone, her relatives, they all had doctorate degrees or graduate degrees, and that's really, really important. Not because education is an end-all be-all, but it sets a precedent, and it helps to position people in a better position to be able to fight against poverty, right? Discrimination is always going to be there. Racism is always going to be there. There's going to be things that's always going to be there for all of us to face, but we have to have the correct tools and resources to fight against it. And many people in her family were doctors, and many people have acquired wealth during a time where it was really hard for blacks to get ahead in America nonetheless. So she got to where she's at, not because she's a hard worker by herself, but because of generational wealth.
Your personal finances is the most important duty you have to yourself. And when we have to trust other people, it's difficult. But pooling your resources together, forming healthy relationships, functional friendships before your time of need or before our time of need, I think is crucial. Let's go in now for another opinion.
We really need to find out how to pool our resources. We have many millionaires and a few billionaires. We really need to find out how to pool our resources. We have many millionaires and a few billionaires, but none of them get together to think about what to do.
The banking activity form is created for users to be able to view their balances. You can also write down your confirmation numbers. It's a great tool for keeping an account and up to date on your banking activity. You can also use your check keeper to help you keep account of your checkings. Right now, I know we're in this digital stage, but as I test out this product, it is best, in my opinion, to write down and notate some of the important things that you're doing day in and day out. And this is a great tool to do that with. Our timeline is now at the investments portion of this discussion. Our investments are very important, and of course we hope our investments pay off. And it's important to know that your investments are always like business, and you should always understand that you also take a risk of loss. However, you also take a risk of profiting, and you can also just break even. Don't become closed-minded about investments, because you can make very small investments into things and go along periodically and increase those investments. Read the history on things, see how well it's done in the past, and from there try to form a very focused and accurate decision. However, as we focus on investment activity, it has some of the basic requirements or basic functions that this type of activity shares, like the purchase minimum. Is there a minimum purchase that you have to make? The purchase date for your interest as well. You also can write in a face value of what it's at, the date that it expires, things like the maturity time, the current value, date sold, what you earn and what may have paid out. Just some of the basic things that you probably would note when investing. And it will lead you to a personal investment portion. And with that part, you could probably make small investment loans. I can't tell you how, but of course, if you do, it has a portion for the amount invested, the type, who's going to pay you back, or when are you going to be paid back, and how long did you make the loan for. So I would like to talk about some more types of investments. We all like to usually or generally choose to invest in a home or car, usually some type of land, but sometimes things don't go as planned. I want you to understand that the 3.5 business level is to help with preparedness, to help you be ready. It seems like there's always those emergencies that takes away from things that you really have already organized to do, and things that you're not prepared for really drains your disposable income. So keep in mind that the lesson is targeted and persuaded towards helping people to be ready and prepared when times are tough.
Mortgage is this enemy that getting that mortgage paid off for as fast as possible assures that you won't lose your home. Well, unfortunately, I'm here to share a story with you, a heartbreaking story. We will share with you the link so you can go right to it. It's out of a news station in Michigan, sharing that that's not always the case, that unfortunately you can lose your home to somebody other than the bank. In this case, it's the story of a lady who bought her home free and clear and does not have a mortgage. And unfortunately today, she is at risk of losing it all. $164,000 is the current value of her home, she believes. She's going to lose it all. As her realtor says in the video, all her future and all her retirement money is tied up in this home, and she's at the risk of losing it all to the county. For one missed installment of taxes dating back to 2011, she's paid everything since, but during the year that she bought the home, somehow that one installment slipped through the cracks and is now coming back to haunt her and robbing all the equity of her home.
Certainly, in the world we live in, people are losing everything and have to start over.
We are now at the end of the discussion line, and this details loans, loan tracker, repayment slips. Those repayment slips are included in the financial lesson for anyone that may be a professional borrower. And what you do is when you repay your loan, you just make sure you address it to who, from yourself and the amount you paid and the date you paid it, and you just tuck it in there with the payment. And I think that just leaves you, or leaves the person that you're paying with a better impression of you. Anyways, our loans is something very simple to understand here. What you're going to do is you're going to complete it with the name of the company, who did you borrow from, and you're going to write down the base amount of that principal amount that you borrowed, the finance charge, and the total amount that you're going to pay back. It's a little bit more detailed than that, but you'll see as you go along. I would like to emphasize on the commitment. The commitment is the greatest challenge. Not everyone needs more money than they know what to do with. However, everyone needs enough to be able to live. Everyone wants the opportunity to do better. There are forces or things that we cannot change. When we get the opportunity to change things for the better, we really should. We should. You can't change certain influences. You can't change discrimination, really. You really can't change your gender. Not really. I guess what I'm saying is we are born into certain situations. We are born a certain way. Though some people take the opportunity to change certain things as gender and also may change their race. However, when we're born in a financial situation, we are given by just grace the opportunity to make things better, the opportunity to increase our wealth, the opportunity to increase our understandings. Let's go in now for another opinion that can help you to understand what I am trying to explain.
We live in a country where the overriding values of the country are against us. For instance, these overriding values put in the positions of privilege people who are white, people who are male, and people who are wealthy. And these three groups dominate the society. So when we talk about teaching our children instrumental values like equality, liberty, fraternity, etc., we are talking about ordering those values under the institutional values of race, gender, and wealth.
Let's go in now for another opinion about reaching our highest potentials.
Because as you try to survive and to be self-autonomous, and the conditions change that keep you from doing that, you change in order to combat those conditions. Am I making sense to you? Okay. Now, what is survival? Survival means that the group has to do at least three things. One, the group has to see that each individual member keeps himself or herself in good enough mental, moral, spiritual, and physical health long enough to reproduce that self and then take care of whatever you reproduce.
So before we close out I would like to say that I have very much enjoyed and appreciated the interaction that I'm seeing on the Facebook page. I'm hoping we can communicate more. I'm looking to give away a few of the workbooks just for testers. So as the communication increases and as we get to interact more, I'm hoping that will be my avenue to create some testers and get some opinions. So as I close out this presentation, I am just hoping we can become more proactive and we can become closer as human beings and help one another before the dark clouds form or before the storms. That way our financial longevity will be stable and we will be able to stand longer in times when needed. The point is to be prepared more so than ready. When we prepare ourselves, we open ourselves to defend ourselves the best way possible. Thank you for tuning in.